What if the biggest Christmas surprise headed for the South wasn't a gift, but a historic storm poised to bury entire states? Snow is about to slam places that haven't seen it in years. Tennessee, Virginia, the Carolinas, they're all in the crosshairs. But the most shocking part of this is something no one is talking about yet. The projected snow totals look like something from a disaster movie. Western North Carolina is looking at a guaranteed 8 to 12 inches. The mountains of Virginia are expecting 6 to 10 inches. Even major cities like Raleigh and Charlotte are bracing for 2 to 4 inches, more than they often see in an entire winter. The nation's travel system is collapsing in real time. 300 flights are already canceled in Charlotte. Richmond is at 150 and counting. Raleigh-Durham is shutting down completely at 10 p.m. tonight, stranding 75,000 people as airports turn into emergency shelters. But here is the detail that makes this storm uniquely dangerous. The temperature line is on a knife's edge. A single degree is the difference between snow and a catastrophic ice storm. Northern Virginia gets snow, Southern Virginia gets ice. That dividing line will be measured in mere miles. Power companies are mobilizing as if a hurricane is bearing down. Dominion Energy has 2,000 crews on standby. Duke Energy is pulling in teams from Florida. Their internal forecast? 500,000 customers will lose power as ice-coated trees begin to snap. You absolutely cannot miss the next critical update. What happens when a medical emergency strikes and an ambulance can't get to you? Hospitals are already postponing surgeries. Emergency rooms are bracing for a flood of injuries. A heart attack victim's wait time for help could be 3 times longer. If you have elderly relatives, this is a life or death warning. The sheer speed of this storm is what's catching everyone off guard. It's moving at 35 miles per hour. That's twice the speed of a normal winter system. This means cities have less time to treat the roads, and the salt trucks simply can't keep up. The Virginia Department of Transportation is already admitting they've lost the battle for secondary roads. Your last-minute Christmas shopping just turned into a nightmare. Malls are shutting their doors. Amazon, UPS, and FedEx are halting all operations in the region. That means your holiday packages are now stuck in a warehouse. The economic hit from this is projected to be $2.3 billion in a single day. So why is a storm this powerful happening now? The jet stream is locked in a bizarre pattern, pulling an Arctic air mass that's 15 degrees colder than normal down into the U.S., where it's colliding with a fire hose of moisture from the Gulf. It's the perfect recipe for an explosive winter catastrophe. Absolute chaos is unfolding in grocery stores. Shelves of bread, milk, and water are completely bare across Richmond. We're getting reports of managers calling the police for crowd control. This is the kind of panic you see before a Category 4 hurricane, not a snowstorm. It's official. Virginia's governor has declared a state of emergency. 1,500 National Guard troops are being activated. This has just escalated from a weather event into a full-blown natural disaster unfolding before our eyes. Forget everything you know about winter weather. This system is moving faster and pushing farther south than any storm we've seen this decade. So here's my first promise to you. I'm about to break down the exact timeline and snow totals for your town right now. Okay, as promised, here is the critical timeline you need to write down. For Richmond, snow starts at 6 p.m., gets heaviest around 10 p.m., and ends by 6 a.m. For Norfolk, starts later at 8 p.m. with the worst between midnight and 4 a.m. Raleigh, you're looking at a 10 p.m. start with brutal conditions all the way until dawn. But just when you thought it was over, there's another gut punch. A second storm is already forming right behind this one. The computer models show it taking a nearly identical track early next week. Can the South handle being hit twice in just 1 week? Don't miss what this means for your recovery plans. The temperature maps for Friday reveal a brutal reality. The high in Richmond will be 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Charlotte, 25 degrees. Raleigh will struggle to reach 24 degrees. We're talking 20 to 30 degrees below average. This is an Arctic blast that will freeze pipes and overwhelm shelters. The picturesque snow you'll see outside your window is hiding a deadly secret. As children play in it, power lines will be snapping above them. That beautiful white blanket is covering treacherous ice, and for families who get stranded, hypothermia becomes a very real threat. The ice forecast alone is terrifying. Northern Virginia could see 0.5 inches of solid ice. That's enough to collapse the power grid for an entire week, turning tree limbs into 500-pound weapons and causing roofs to fail. Insurers are already bracing for $100 million in claims. So how do you protect your family? Here is your 4-step survival guide. Step 1. Fill your bathtubs with water before 6 p.m. Step 2. Get every phone, tablet, and power bank you own charging right now. Step 3. Make sure you have 72 hours of food that doesn't need cooking. Step 4. Find your flashlights now, not in the dark. But here is the one warning that could save your life, because it's the one thing everyone forgets. During a power outage, carbon monoxide poisoning incidents spike by 300%. This silent killer, from generators or indoor grills, claims more victims than the cold itself. Right now, school superintendents are caught in an impossible situation. If they close too early, parents are stranded at work. If they close too late, children are trapped on buses. Richmond is dismissing at 1 p.m., but in the rural counties, the clock is ticking on a decision that could have tragic consequences. The most respected forecast models in the world are in terrifying agreement. The European model predicts 6 to 8 inches for Richmond. The American model shows 5 to 7 inches. The Canadian, 7 to 9. When all three models align this closely, it means there's a 95% certainty this is going to happen. Nursing homes are now on high alert, responsible for 47,000 elderly residents in the storm's path. Staff are preparing to stay overnight, and backup generators are being tested. But the greatest danger is in the rural facilities, where a power failure could be catastrophic. Oklahoma is getting absolutely pounded as we speak, with 6 inches already piling up. We're seeing 3 to 4 inches of sleet in the Texas Panhandle, which is completely unheard of for early December. This is only the appetizer. The real question is, what will happen when this monster arrives on your doorstep? The highest elevations in Virginia could see 15 inches of snow. That's more than a typical lake effect storm in Buffalo. Every 1,000 feet of elevation adds another 2 to 3 inches. The Blue Ridge Parkway is already closing at 4 p.m. today, and in our next video, we'll expose the long-term impact of this storm that officials are hoping you won't notice. Could you be forced to choose between heating your home and feeding your pet? That's the impossible choice thousands are facing right now, as animal shelters are completely overwhelmed. In response, 23 counties are scrambling to open emergency pet shelters. But will it be enough? This beautiful snow is hiding a terrifying secret. The psychological fallout from a December blizzard like this is unprecedented, causing seasonal depression rates to absolutely spike. What's worse, this pretty snowfall is masking a mental health crisis, with elderly isolation becoming a life or death situation. When the government is stretched to its absolute limit, who steps in? Across the region, churches are transforming into emergency response centers. The Salvation Army is opening warming shelters, and communities are mobilizing, proving that when disaster strikes, it's neighbor helping neighbor time. But what happens to Christmas? That's the question on everyone's mind as Santa visits at the mall are canceled and church Christmas pageants are postponed. The economic shockwave from this is hitting every single local business, and the worst part is yet to come. Can you imagine working for 48 hours straight? That's what snowplow drivers are doing right now. Virginia has 2,100 trucks ready, but here's the shocking twist. They don't have enough drivers. The overtime costs are projected to blast past $15 million, and many of you watching won't see a plow until Saturday. How long can a person survive in these conditions? For the 1,200 unsheltered people in Richmond, this is a life or death race against the clock. With temperatures plunging to 15 degrees, frostbite can set in within 15 minutes, and hypothermia can become fatal in just 2 hours. The technological backbone of our society is beginning to shatter. Cell towers are losing power, and internet lines are snapping under the weight of the ice. Just when you need them most, communication systems are failing. But there's one old piece of tech that might save you. Do you still have a landline phone? Our farmers are in absolute crisis mode, fighting a losing battle to keep their livestock alive. But here's a strange twist. Christmas tree farms are seeing a massive surge in demand as families rush to get a tree before the storm locks them in. The total agricultural losses could top a staggering $50 million. The storm's path is now locking in with terrifying precision, leaving no room for doubt. The Tennessee mountains will be buried under 8 to 14 inches. Even the Shenandoah Valley is guaranteed 4 to 8 inches. The line between a dusting and a disaster is now razor sharp. Winter weather advisories have just exploded to cover 12 million Americans from Oklahoma City all the way to Virginia Beach. Richmond, Roanoke, Lynchburg, you are all directly in the path. But what are the forecasters holding back? Some of you are about to be upgraded to a full-blown winter storm warning before the night is over. Emergency room doctors are bracing for an absolute onslaught. Slip and fall injuries are about to jump by 400%, and heart attacks from shoveling will spike. The terrifying part? Medical helicopters are grounded, meaning if you have a critical emergency, you might be on your own. But wait! In the midst of all this chaos, there's an unexpected silver lining. This crisis is bringing out the absolute best in people. Neighbors are checking on the elderly, and local restaurants are feeding stranded travelers. Don't miss the most inspiring part of this story, coming up at the 3-minute mark. The cost to clean up this mess will be astronomical. Virginia alone is looking at $200 million in snow removal, and their salt reserves are already 50% gone. But the real cost? A jaw-dropping $1 billion in lost productivity across the region. Stick around to see what happens after the snow finally stops. Friday morning will unveil a world completely transformed, like something out of a movie. But don't let the Instagram photos fool you. Beneath that beautiful white blanket lies the reality: collapsed roofs, broken trees, and treacherous roads. This is the definition of dangerous beauty. As scary as this storm is, what's coming after it is even more concerning. A massive Arctic air mass is settling in for weeks, promising temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below normal. This isn't just a storm, it's the beginning of an unprecedented southern winter. How can any small business possibly recover from this? They're losing the most critical Christmas shopping days of the entire year. The total economic gut punch to these states is projected to be $3.5 billion. For many, this weather emergency will become a financial catastrophe. This isn't just about a few snow days. The impact on education is massive. We're talking about 2.3 million students across 5 states facing disrupted testing schedules and canceled seasons. For some rural schools, they might not reopen for an entire week. The machines are failing. The South's snow removal equipment, designed for a few inches of ice, is being completely overwhelmed and breaking down. The situation is so dire, they're making emergency calls to buy equipment from northern states. Can it get there in time? The insurance industry is now bracing for a full-blown catastrophe. They're expecting $500 million in homeowner claims alone. Auto accidents are predicted to surge by 800%. Adjusters are flying in from all over the country to handle the chaos. Don't miss our report on the recovery phase tomorrow. Even Virginia's picturesque wine country is facing utter devastation. This sudden freeze could not only ruin this year's harvest, but could kill next year's crop entirely. The economic fallout for this one industry alone could reach $25 million. A treacherous wintry mix is coating Arkansas right now. Ice is building up to 0.25 inches, which is more than enough to start snapping power lines. 50,000 people are already in the dark in Oklahoma, with emergency crews unable to reach them. The story gets even worse at the 5-minute mark, so stay with me. Behind these shocking numbers are heartbreaking human stories. Dialysis patients who can't get to their treatments, cancer patients missing chemotherapy, home healthcare workers cut off from their clients. This isn't just a storm. It's rapidly becoming a humanitarian crisis. The time for uncertainty is over. The final forecast is now at a 97% confidence level. Richmond, you are getting 4 to 7 inches. Raleigh, 3 to 5 inches. Charlotte, 2 to 3 inches plus ice. These numbers are now locked in. If you think life will be back to normal by Saturday, you are tragically mistaken. The recovery timeline stretches deep in the next week. Power could be out for 3 to 7 days in some areas. Normal life likely won't resume until December 16th at the absolute earliest. So why is this happening? Climate scientists are calling this a once-in-a-generation event. The last time something like this hit was in 2009. It represents a major shift in our climate patterns, and scientists are scrambling to figure out what it means for our future winters. Tomorrow, we begin our exclusive coverage of the aftermath. Which communities will be in the dark the longest? But more importantly, we're tracking a second storm threat for next Tuesday. Early models show it on a similar track. Could we be facing a double disaster? Be sure to join us for tomorrow's special report, After the Christmas Storm. We'll have exclusive interviews with emergency managers and the critical forecast for that potential second storm. Your guide to surviving this unprecedented winter continues tomorrow. This is just the beginning. Tonight's blizzard is setting the stage for what could be weeks of brutal cold and multiple snow threats. The Christmas spirit this year is wrapped in dangerous beauty. Stay prepared, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow as the recovery begins. This is the minute-by-minute survival timeline you absolutely need. At 2 p.m. today, the snow starts in western Tennessee. By 4 p.m., the Virginia mountains will be getting slammed with 2 inches per hour. 6 p.m. is when Richmond sees its first flakes, and by 8 p.m., the entire Washington, D.C. metro is under threat. But the timing of this storm hides a terrifying secret. It's set to cripple the evening commute. Interstate 95 from Richmond to D.C. could transform into a 6-hour parking lot. State police are already moving assets, but will it be enough? Are you truly ready for the chaos of tonight? The rate of snowfall has meteorologists genuinely terrified. We're talking a sustained 3 inches per hour in the West Virginia mountains. That's blizzard intensity. Virginia's Blue Ridge could see 2 to 4 inches an hour. Even Richmond getting 1 inch per hour is a massive event for that part of the state. School superintendents are making impossible last-minute decisions. 47 districts have already closed for Friday. But here's the twist. Some waited too long. Are we about to see nightmare scenarios of school buses filled with children trapped on frozen roads tonight?